be seated. Glory be to the triune Lord. Good afternoon to everyone. Reverend Fathers, dignitaries from the management of the three schools, the principals, the teachers, the supporting staff, greetings to all in the name of God. I don't know how can I make an impressive speech after we have well fed by the chosen delicacies of the feast which our brothers and sisters have served to us, to our eyes and ears. So I would like to appreciate and congratulate for the flamboyant celebration of Christmas which our staff have performed before us. I would like to congratulate. So the speech is not going to work today because our eyes and our ears are full of the visuals which has clearly explicated to us what is the meaning of Christmas and the theme of Christmas all about. Even then, I say a few words. Christmas is all about a love story. Unlike the love story which we read, understand and teach in the classrooms, unlike the story and the love stories which we see in the serials telecasted across the globe, and unlike the stories which we see in the cinemas and all other form of art, this is a love story between the Creator God and the creation. If we go by the narrative of the Bible, is clearly said that God has created the human beings in His own image and likeness. Even if the creation go far from God and complicated their situations in a very deplorable and desperate way, but the Creator, the Father or the loving Mother, because the motherly aspect is also embedded in God's concept, especially in India and in the East. So the loving Father or the loving God is waiting for the return of humanity to Him to reclaim the image and likeness which the creation has lost because our misuse of the freedom which God has given to us in the beginning of His creation. Soon after the humanity fell into the trap and lost their original image and likeness or deformed their likeness, they tried to get back to the paradise. But the time was not prepared that they can get it back. It took hundreds and millions of years. Exactly around 2000 years back, God sent His only begotten Son to the world. In most of the translation from the original Greek Bible, even in English and in the other vernacular, St. John chapter 3 verse 16 is translated in a way which is not very close to the original. The NRSV come very close to the original, which at the beginning of this program somebody pronounced, recited the words. God so loved the world. It has a purpose as well, so that whoever believes in the Son will not perish but have eternal life. It gives an impression that God's love is conditional. Of course, all form of love is conditional to the extent that God's love is not that much pertained to a condition, but it is an overflowing love with an entirely different form of expression which cannot a human language expresses it. So God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son to the world to save the world. So Christmas is a love story of saving people, saving everyone, the people who denounce God, the people who say something against God, or even people who say, I don't believe in God, to the theistic, to the atheistic, to the loving people, to the most cruel and brutal human beings on earth. God's love overflows. It comprises all people, irrespective of the caste, creed, national frontiers, genders, language, or whatever the stratifications we have, the classes we have on human earth. So it is a love that transcends our human limitations. It is an overwhelming love that is coming down from the celestial to the terrestrial level today. At the beginning I said it is a love story, so everyone will be very happy if we elaborate the aspect of love, which is a very abstract term to understand and is a very abstract to express. Most of the people lack love. Most of the people lack love to share this love to the people who expect love from us. So one day, Emperor Akbar raised a question to his pundits and to the ministers. Why God took a human form to come to the world to save His people? As we know, this is a very perplexing and bamboozling question. But the prudent minister, his Prime Minister Barnabas asked a time of 1 month to answer this question. So the days have gone. Finally, almost a month has gone. People arranged a boat trip along with the emperor, all his royal regalias, and the paraphernalia to a nearby island. So everyone got into the boat and they sailed. They were going through the lake to the island. Almost they reached the island, but in the meantime, a child plunged into the lake. And the emperor, within no time now, he pulled off his outer garments and was about to jump into the water to save the life of the child. But as directed earlier, the soldiers took him hold and made him sit in the boat. And then comes the prudent minister Barnabas to explain to the king. You asked a question a month ago to me, why God took a human form, why God Himself came to the world to save the people. Then he explained to him. Then he raised a question to the emperor as well. Why you were planning to jump or plunge into the water to save the life of people? There are so many soldiers, the servants who will work according to your words within no time. So, why you dare to do that? Then he said, is after all, my child. So when he sunk into the water, it's my responsibility before I ask anyone to save the life of the child, but to go after him to save him. Then he smiled and he answered to the emperor that this is the love story between the human beings and the Creator God. That's why God took a human form. He became a human being in order to save the life of human beings, because human beings are created in the image and likeness of God. It's a very special story. It's a very rare story. So Christmas is not only about the love story, it is a story, and it's a day when we celebrate liturgical and other festivities. We have to understand what is the value of a human being. When you get out of this campus and when you are heading to your home or other places, if you lose 1 rupee coin, I think nobody would stop your journey and go after it and get it. Even a 5 rupee coin, you don't mind. 10 rupee, you don't mind. 25, you don't mind. If it is a gold coin, what do you do? You stop the journey, you go after it. Even if it is in the most rubbish place, you will go and get it back. Because the value of the thing lost is very much. So you have to rest, you have to stop the other plans, and you have to regain it. This is a very special relationship between God and human beings. Nowadays, people think that God does not exist. And because of the economic booming in India and across the globe, because of our economic ascendancy and well-off community, most of the people, even during their school days and college days, they perform like Mary, Joseph, the kings, the wise men, and so many other things. When they come of age and when they earn their living, the decent salary competent to any good people, they stop going to the church, to the mandir, to the temple, or they stop worshipping God, because they think that it's up to me to worship God. Better for their satisfaction and happiness, they think that God does not exist. But it's easy, because there are so many cataclysms, there are a lot of problems taking place in the society here and there in the name of God. Better we avoid this and we live a happy life. That is not good at all, and that is not the story all about God and human beings. So Christmas is an occasion to think about God and about ourselves. God has given us all the faculties, all the capabilities to understand God. And in understanding and worshipping God, we have to love our neighbors who stand in need in manifold ways. In India, even after 100 years or 200 years, the world will be at the door. Means the poverty, illiteracy, and less hygienity, and everything will be in and around Delhi and other places. But at the same time, the world will say that India is at the zenith of development. They have many indexes to put forward to say that India stands at the top of the 5 nations which are most developed in the country. But at the same time, we know millions and millions of the people who have no say in the democratic process and in the decent life of a human being. So it is our responsibility. Whoever participated or performed a flamboyant celebration this morning to us, to our satisfaction, has to rededicate your life to do something to the needy and the poor and the downtrodden who are not in the mainstream of the society. So it is a kind of a sentimental relationship between two persons. God and a human being. It's not some other kind of a mechanical life or a relationship. Even in the schools, you have laboratories, we have relationship, we make a lot of experiments at the same time in the laboratories, which are mostly mechanical. We do the experiments with the machines. And we write in a very mechanical way and present, and we get the most honored degrees from the school levels as well as to the university level. But that is not the life all about. Life is a kind of a sentimentality, a sentimental relationship. With a husband and wife, there is a sentimental relationship. It is not a legal relationship or a mechanical relationship. The relation between a father and a child, a mother and a child, and the manager as well as the chairman and the principal and the teachers and the teachers to the students, everywhere it matters. The sentimental feeling is the most valuable thing. So, some people ask, how can God, who is considered to be the most omnipotent, omniscient, and the Pandakata means the most creative and all-ruler, God can become a human being to save the life of the people? Only God can do it. We cannot belittle ourselves. Because we are already little beings. Even though we are proud and we think that we are so and so in this world, we are a little being. A little being cannot still go little by himself or herself. So, only God, who is omniscient and omnipotent and all-powerful and is powered everywhere, can have a simple way of action to the world which He created. So don't think the way otherwise. Only God can. Only a powerful God. Only an omniscient God. Only a creator God can took the form of a human being and come to the world to save the life of the people. This is the day. Christmas is the day, not only of the love story, but it is a story about identification. Identification. It's very difficult to identify oneself with something external to him or her. We are the biggest democratic world on the earth. The English word democracy comes from two Greek words actually. First is demo. Demo. Delta, epsilon, mu and omega. Demo, which means people. And the second branch, Krasi, comes from Kratia, which is an old French or a Greek name. If we take the relationship between the Indo-European languages, that means the Latin, the Greek and the Sanskrit, we cannot be certain what was in which language a certain word originated. For example, dant is a typical word which is in Sanskrit, and in most modern languages, dant is dant. So coming back to democracy, Kratia means power or rule. What does it mean then? If demo is people and Krasi is power or rule, how do you translate this to the learned teachers? A rule of the people or power of the people. Do you think that 140 or more crores of people rule in this world? Absolutely no. And it is incredible to think in that way as well. So we have the representatives at the state level called the MLAs. We have the representatives at the national level called the MPs. So the power is wielded to a few in the state and at the national level. So the people is thrown out and the people who have power rule the world. Okay? So this is not the way God reigns in His power. He come down without any royal paraphernalia and regalia, without any Z category of people. He identified himself fully with the suffering people. So he identified himself with the lowest human being, the simplest human being, the most vulnerable human being, a newborn child. He cannot have an existence apart from the care and the nursing care which the mother and the other people associated with him, they have to give for many months to have a decent beginning of his life. So, God, who created us in His own image and likeness, took the form of us to save us. Unless God come in my own way and my own fashion, and the way I can understand it does not make any sense at all. For example, if I think that the Sultan of a certain Sheikhdom is my father, I can say this, I can write it, but I never feel it because that is not the reality. So unless God comes to a human being and identify himself with the suffering and the desperate situation of the humanity, it does not make any sense that God is love. So it is again a love story. Unlike the love story which we narrate, we learn and we express this in manifold way in our life, but this is a love story which the real Father to His own children. So God created us. We lost it. We lost the unique place of being the creation of God. So God took the form, not us. If God has been waiting, how human beings are going to conduct their life, will they come back to me in the design which I have given to them in the beginning of creation? God waited for some time, then again God waited for some time. God sent some prophets, some kings, some priests, and so other people to rightwise the affairs of human beings, but desperately that does not yield to the satisfaction of God. So God in the fullness of time, there's a reference about the time God has set to become a human being. In Galatians, it said, in the fullness of time, God sent His only begotten Son to the world. In the fullness of time, the pleroma of the temple, the fullness of the time God sent. So, if we love God, if you respect God, if you respect humanity, if you love each other, then we have to realize a Father God, a God who took the form of us to save us. As clearly explicated in the visual performance this morning, God has us. If you love God, you have to have the same attitude and mindset to the people who live around you. So unless we share the love of God to all the people, quite often we think that people need our service in the form of some grocery, some clothes, some land or something. Absolutely no. The most powerful people, the well-off people living in the skyscrapers are really desperate for love. A good word from her is wife, her husband, from their children, from their teachers, from their management. So in all walks of love, we need each other. One of the greatest lessons that we learn from the life is that we mutually need. I need the service of many things and many people to have a survival. You need many people. Quite often we think that because of our health, wealth, beauty and well-off situations, I don't need anyone's service. Absolutely incredible. We need each other. Without the need, without the help, and without many other people who dedicate their life, our life cannot be conducted on the earth. So, If you love God, then you tend to the side, the people living around with you. Maybe the black white people, maybe the people who are not so loved by, or even we are not in our real intent to be loved. But God asks us to love them. Here, the picture has clearly indicated this. So, I'm not going to elaborate the essence of Christmas. Some people say Christmas is a mass celebrated on Christ's birth. I don't know, maybe coming from the western side. But coming to the eastern tradition, especially in India, coming through the Syriac tradition of the east, it is the feast of Eldo. The simple Syriac word Eldo, which means rising. Is arising. The sun is arising to give you the power. The sun is arising to lead you to light. The sun is rising today to give you the warmth of life. The sun is rising today to give you a crystal clear vision how to conduct your life. So, a new light is coming, a new king is coming, a new form of life is coming, new order of creation is coming into existence to have a decent life in accordance with the prakriti, the nature, in accordance with the people in harmony, in accordance with the real intent of God. So, wherever we have God as prey and paying God and other rest of the creations, we reconcile to God as well as to our fellow beings as well as to the nature. So it is a multi-layered, multifaceted reality to understand the inner meaning of Christmas. It's not simply a celebration. It's easy to celebrate Christmas in a church because everyone comes with a jubilant mode to celebrate it. The liturgical form is thousands of years ago, it is well set, So sing the song and do some robotics along with some songs and other actions is so simple, but the inner meaning of this is difficult to practice, put it into practice. So God so loved the world. So take the love of God and have a contemplation. What is God all about? God is love. He is very clear in the pages of the Bible. And He expressed this love in an unexplainable way to the world in the fullness of time. So, God never gave a discourse. Fortunately, Jesus did not write anything at all, even though He is the King and the Queen and the Prince and all in all of the world. He did not write a simple word. Either He asked anyone to write His story for the beginning to come. But people who associated with Him was so thrilled to write. They cannot but write the story of Jesus. Even this kindled us. Even the spark of love and the light which Christ has shown to the world is still rekindled in our midst today as we celebrated the theme of Christmas. Let this warmth, this bliss, light, let this personal relationship and the sharing and the joy and the jubilee mode which we have celebrated till today and this time be continued not only in this year but in the years to come and the rest of our life. Today is the beginning of the rest of our life. So how a complete turnaround in our life, in a very positive way. It is not a passion, it is not an old story, it is a new task which God has set before us. If you love God, you have to translate the story of love to the world in whatever possible way. God is not too mean to demand something which is very hard for us. God always asks 10% of what we have. As teachers and the management, We cannot compare a single student with any other student in the class. Each creation, each student is talented in his own or her own way. So we cannot just compare. Comparison is the root cause of all agonies in our life. So never compare. If God compares me with this man or this woman or any other talented person on the earth, my life becomes futile and my life becomes meaningless. So God is gracious, He is full of mercy, He is love, so that whoever do good to God and to humanity, or whoever does not do any good at all, He sustains each one of us because God is love. So, if we understand God is love, and He took a human form to redeem the world, to give a new vision to the world, a new attitude of love, a new philosophy of life, and set everything in the desired mode, we have to carry this legacy of Christmas to the rest of our life. I am very much honored to be invited here to spend this morning with you. You have given this day a very colorful celebration. So once again, before I close, I appreciate the initiative of Reverend Fathers, the management, the principals, the teachers, students, and each one of us, the supporting staff, the well-wishers, friends and relatives, and all those who are gathered here to see as well as to perform to us. I appreciate the work. May the loving God continue to shower the joyous blessing on you during this season of Christmas and in the new year to come and the rest of your life. With these words, I end my boring as well as monotonic, so that monotonous speech. Okay? God bless you. Wish you all a happy Christmas and a very blessed 2023. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Grace. A cake is essential when it comes to celebrations. It adds more happiness to the occasion, symbolizes success and milestones.